Looks like it's on. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to get on the phone here and we'll roll the show out in just 2 or 3 minutes. I'm just going to get on the phone here and give everybody time to come in. Yeah. I'm glad you could make it, and I appreciate you pushing through it.
Yeah, I actually didn't see the message until today. I'm like, oh no. And I'm like, I felt a calling to do so. So I'm like, gotta do it.
Well, we had, with all this energy come down the last week, we had, for the first time ever, just like 8 or 10 people cancel. They had
really?
to. Oh, yeah. They had to. Let's see. We lost your video. Oh, you're back.
I'm back.
Oh, you're on your phone. That'll happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see here. All right. Okay. So we got 12 people in the house so far. All right. Let me make sure this is all. Hey, Vera Ingeborg's here. Soraya Williams. Thank you, Soraya, for your contribution and your kind words yesterday. And thank everybody for their love and support contributions. It allow us to keep going by the seat of our pants. But at least, it's all happening. Let's see. Let me just share this to the network. All of a sudden, I'm burning up from the inside out. I think I'm burning some DNA. Something's happening. It must have something to do with the connection, the show we're about to have. Okay. There we go. Okay. Got 26 people here. Mike Capo, of course, Vera, Soraya, Mary Cooper, Connie Ma, Lynn Starkey, old friend, very old friend. Ian Boldy from Romania, Heather Houston, Dagmar, Karen Dog, Carrie Sanders from Tasmania, Cricket Holden, Norma Costello from the North Georgia mountains. I wonder if that's up near Blairsville. I have an old boyhood friend that lives up in Blairsville. Heather, let's see, Ann Christian Skoglund, Elise Fly, Susan Hoffman, Catalina de Amor, and Rachel Norell Rich from Australia. Good to have everybody here. If these shows resonate with you, please share so we can stay above the algorithms. At Facebook, we have an exciting show. I'm Todd Medina, SoulSpeaks 5D. This is the Soulogy.One network, and we have, for the first time, we're honored to have Tricia Shope with us today. Hello, Lawrence Wendell and Christian Quinones. Welcome to SoulSpeaks 5D. It's a conversation, Tricia. Nothing to worry about. We're just going to have a conversation and get to know each other. But welcome. Thank you for honoring us with your presence, sharing space with us today.
Thank you. No, I'm blessed to be on your show. Thank you so much.
So I know you've been going through some physical complications that so many people have. If they haven't been going through it physically in the last couple of weeks, it certainly affected something. Either the emotional, the mental, or any of the other bodies I'm not familiar with that people talk about on this show. But has it been noticeably amped up the last couple of weeks in your experience?
Yeah, for me, energy-wise, yeah, I can tell a huge difference. Even I'd say within the last 48 hours as well. Definitely, the energy has picked up. So I do notice, though, from like I've had issues with my kidneys for I think 20 years, but within the last year, my healing's come very quickly. Before, where it would take maybe a month or two to get better, I'm looking at maybe a week. Then I'm again. So
good to go.
Yeah, then good to go. So it's definitely a change, so you can feel it.
Well, in looking at you, for some reason, I'm not talking about your physical appearance. I pick up, like, I'm not saying I have these abilities or anything, but you feel very galactic.
Thank you.
And, so I'm interested to find out when, a lot of people kind of woke up around 2012, give or take a year or two. Though we've had some people, including the lady this morning, 1985, 90. People have been doing this for a long time. Wow. How long have you been consciously aware of what's happening collectively and with yourself?
It's been about 4 years now,
Okay.
so I'm fairly new, I guess, but it happened very rapidly for me, and it's been quite an interesting journey. And the funny thing is, I actually ran a helpline for a hospital when this happened, so you can imagine it was a bit challenging to say the least. To go from handling phone calls that I would have potentially told people to seek help for to just this whole spectrum of things that have happened in my life within the last 4 years that have been just amazing. So of course I don't work there any longer, but it's been quite an amazing journey for me.
I bet it has. It's been an amazing journey for many people. I want to say hello to my friend Elena Starbuck in Sedona. Haven't talked to you in a long time. Just want to say hello, and I appreciate you and following your work. Did you have a series of traumas that woke you up like so many people?
Yeah, I guess it started. I had a lot of things happen in my life, over a lot of trauma over the years, and I've been able to navigate them. But something had happened. I was drinking heavily at one point. Basically, had lost everything, and like a lot of other people, I had to support a family, and I just didn't want to go on anymore. There was just
Yeah.
something in me that snapped, and then one day I woke up. I said, I don't want to live like this. I stopped drinking. I just started eating healthy. And then from there, like I said, it just spiraled into this huge awakening. I started seeing synchronicities, the 1111. Actually, for the first year, I didn't know what was going on. I had nobody to talk to. I had no support, and I was actually scared. I had no idea what was going on. And then finally, I found groups on Facebook like you and the 1111 movement and things like that helped guide me through it. But it was very difficult the first couple of years because there was nobody to talk to.
Now, 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 were you having divine, what people might call divine episodes, or visitations, dimensional experiences? Were you having that type of
Yes.
stuff happen those first couple of years? And that
Yeah.
really that was really challenging. And the reason I say that is because there's a lot of people waking up now that are in the same boat.
Yeah, and that's why I felt it was important for my journey because I experienced definitely different dimensions, different states of consciousness. And again, when you don't know what's going on, it scared me. I experienced rapid manifestation, and some people might call it the fifth dimensional state, I guess, of consciousness. I do believe that there's three. You got the third, the fourth, and the fifth, and potentially higher realms above that. So, and like I said, coming from somebody who's very much, I'm the type of person I need a proof. Like I have to warrior everything. So going from that state to where I am today, knowing that there are so much um, different realms out there or different dimensions out there, like I said, it's been quite an experience. But also it's challenging because there are people out there now that don't know what's going on, like myself. And I'm hoping that whatever I can do, I can help guide them. We can't how do I say it? We can't push people on their journey, so to speak,
Yeah.
but it's always good to have somebody else who's been there that says, yes, it happened to me. No, you're not crazy. This is actually going on, because I wish somebody was there for me when it happened to me. So it was a very difficult time for me, but yet it was beautiful and chaotic, I guess with a lot of other people that I'm speaking to as well. But just knowing that there's groups out there and that people are waking up, and that you're not alone. I think that's really important to know that.
Yeah. And that you're not crazy.
No, exactly. You're not crazy. I realized
Yeah,
the
I
life I
think,
was living before was crazy. So
yeah. And I do think the exchanges like this, just having a conversation about what people are experiencing, that really carries the biggest activations. I've watched it for 1,000+ shows. But to your point, we can help each other, but we can't heal each other. We
right.
can't save each other. We can't do it for each other.
No, you can't.
Now, was there a point? Was there like a pivotal event or situation or occurrence um, that came, 4 years ago, where you just said, "Okay, I'm beating at a higher vibration. Something's going on. I'm going to trust it," kind of thing?
Yeah, there was at one, like I said, there was one point during the journey. I feel like I stepped through it. Like it took me one step, so it wasn't like I was thrown into it. But at one point, I would say for about a year, I was just on this vibrational pattern that was incredible, and it was like I said, I would say it felt like almost heaven on earth. But yeah, at the time, it was frightening because I've never experienced something like that before. I'm not in that state right now. I wish I were, but I do know that I'm not in a lower vibrational pattern.
Yeah.
And what I have learned from that, it is literally raising your vibration pattern up. You hear it all the time, but it's very hard to do, I guess, when you have all the different energies and different things that are, processing through, to keep that state of consciousness full time. It's very difficult to maintain it. But I believe it's possible, and I believe that that's what we're all pushing for as a collective. So
yeah, it makes it kind of difficult when you have to go participate in what used to be the real world.
yeah, it's hard sometimes. Yes.
Even going to the grocery store, the post office, or just anywhere where there's a lot of people.
Yes.
I don't know how people, and I've been in a lot of big cities, but I don't know how people do in these big cities anymore. I guess.
But yeah, I have to work in Philadelphia, so sometimes it's very difficult for me because it's very low vibration down there. So you do have to learn to adjust it the best that you can. And then I always have to protect my energy. Wherever I go, I have to protect my energy because it can impact you, quickly. So
yeah. I spent a couple of months down in the Philly area, Camden, a couple of years ago. Yeah, a couple of years ago when I went off the grid. But yeah, that's an interesting high vibrational place. There's a lot of different vibrations there. But,
yeah, definitely a lot of interesting things going on in Philly.
So right. So now I made kind of a joke, but not half. I was half serious and really real serious. Is there some type of galactic connection in your experience? I mean, are you hearing communications from any specific star family?
Yeah, I get channels. I've always resonated as a star seed, I guess. And coming from somebody who doesn't know, I didn't know anything about any of this stuff. I've always kind of resonated with the Orion system, star system, just as I used to love to look at it as a child and think, oh my gosh, I want to go home. I always thought that as a young kid. And I never, caught the connection until I would say within the last 2 years. But I do resonate with, I guess being a star seed or whatever title, I guess it varies on who resonates with what. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, I get channels. I get channels from source. I don't utilize it. Some people say I'm a psychic or a medium. I don't charge, and I don't do that stuff. I only utilize it for myself or my family or my friends.
Right.
But yeah, I've been able to channel a lot of information, and a lot of my other friends they say they're psychic, but I think we could all get that connection. Does that make sense? I think everybody
Absolutely.
has the ability to tap into it. So I don't like to use labels, so to speak.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
yeah, but we'll channel in, and it's amazing. Some of the things that we're getting are, for the collective, and how it all resonates, and it's the same, but as coming from different people, we get a lot of the same information and what's going on. So.
Yeah. Like we're all antennas, basically.
Yes.
Absolutely. So the channelings that you get, would you consider these to be like discussions between you and your higher self, or are they is it data, information, code meant for you, and do you share it publicly?
I do. I don't. I haven't shared. This is the first time I've ever spoke publicly about anything. I've always been afraid to. So you're kind of my coming out today. But I think a lot of it is a lot of things I get as I get information from me, which is my higher self, but I have gotten information in reference to the collective, in reference to certain things that are going on. And what I end up doing is I'll match that up with like other people on, Facebook or other groups, and I can see what they're channeling through, and I can kind of match it up so I can, pinpoint if my information is accurate. But I do a lot of meditation, and I try to get as much accurate information as I can. The one thing I think that and then I have dreams that come, to pass. If I dream something, they do come true sometimes. So I'd be mindful of the things that I dream. But I think a lot of it is too that, again, for me, it's a fear of speaking out, I guess. Like I said, I came from working a helpline at a hospital to, talking about dimensions and star seeds. And so it's a bit of a jump.
Welcome to the community. You're in good company here. Everyone here is just as crazy as you are. And a lot of particularly a lot of females, a lot of divine feminines like yourself have come on the show for the first time and started speaking about these things. But I find that it carries a tremendous power. That raw, honest expression of what's going on, and many people, both that are watching and commenting and that have been on the screen, it's kind of a liberating frequency. I think it's between the words, between the lines. We'll activate each other to the extreme when we do that. So, I mean, now, can you, as an example, can you tell us, like, what's the latest intel you've received? What the hell's going on out here?
The things that I get most, a lot of things are for myself, and I think it's for a lot of people too, is just being able to navigate through, um, I think we're getting a lot of upgrades and downloads and trying to navigate those waves. And a lot of the other things that I'm getting are, I think the most important thing that I have gotten to date is that we are trying to hold the grid to maintain the fifth dimensional state of consciousness permanently.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I know for certain. And I know everybody's probably like going back and forth between the different dimensions, or why am I here? Why am I there? Why is this happening? I do know that everything is basically on course, so to speak, and that everybody has their own journey, but each journey is a portion that helps us all raise our vibration up to get to that dimensional state.
Yeah.
Because I believe we are going into that full time at some point within the coming years, to where we will be able to bridge that gap, where we will no longer have the third dimension, the fourth dimension. I'm not even, for me, the third dimension, I don't even know if that's, it's very rare that I'm there.
Yeah.
But at least we'll be able to navigate it. But I think the goal of all this is to maintain that fifth dimension vibration pattern, so that we can manifest, so we can have our lives that we dreamed of, so that we can hold it. Because I don't think our bodies right now are able to maintain that state for on a full-time basis. But we're like the forerunners, and this is what I've been told. We're the ones that volunteer to do this. And even though it's hard, and I think a lot of people out there know that it's not easy, we have to remember that our soul contracts and what we volunteer to do was for this purpose, and to be, to help others along the way that are coming up behind us. So that's
exactly.
the information that I get.
Exactly. Yeah. And then in talking to you too, and the way you explain it, it's like because people have all these different theories or things that they receive, and of course, when we receive something, we start talking about it. It doesn't come in as perfect as when we get it.
Right.
But they talk about there's 2 Earths and there's 3 Earths, and these people are going to go that way, and these people are going to go this way. I don't know. In talking to you, and the more I talk to people, to me, it's more like third dimension is experiential, just like the fourth dimension, just like the fifth dimension. Like, to your point, we continue to hold down this vibration, and the other ones just become less and less existent, less and less of our reality.
Right.
But I mean, how do we do that? Do we do that by being true to ourselves, listening to our higher self, following our guidance, and just being more and more of our divine essence, truly what we are each and every day? Is there anything else we need to do?
No, I think that's it. And honestly, when I was in that state, I had seen life with a whole new set of eyes. It was like being childlike again. And I think that's a lot of what we need to do. Is we're so, a lot of times I get caught up in everything that's going on. Like,
Yeah.
am I doing this right? Am I getting this right? Or, and I don't think it's that. I think it's just, you're right. It's being in your true essence, being who you are authentically at your core, and at yourself. And then also, trying to integrate that higher self, because we all have that higher self that we're trying to pull through,
Yeah.
and it's there for us to get. It's just a matter of trying to vibrationally match up with that.
Yeah.
And it's work. I think it's a lot of self work, and we do it every day. It's not easy all the time, but I think a lot of it is coming into our divine essence and beings as what we are. We're spirits in a human body, and once you realize that, it's so powerful, and it's hard to remember that sometimes, but we're very powerful in that. And with that essence, I think a lot of that is, once we get into that portion, and I, like I said, I think everybody holds a piece to it. It's not just myself or you. Everybody holds a piece to be able to raise that up for us to all maintain that vibration. So, and it's not like we're waiting on somebody else to come up, or new earth. I hear the new earth because I've studied Eckhart Tolle and things with him as well. It's already here. The fifth dimension's already here. Dolores Cann's already stated that. It's a matter of getting your vibration pattern up to be able to reach that, and also to maintain our physical bodies to be able to hold that space. And I think everybody's searching for it, but it's already here. It's just a matter of working through your personal things, getting your and like I said, a lot of it I think is that we're upgrading too. Our bodies have to upgrade to be able to hold that space for that dimension.
Yeah.
because you can't do it full time. It was almost, when I was in that space for so long, I would have to come back and do something so that it was too much. You know,
Yeah.
it's too much to be in there full time.
Yeah.
But it's possible, and I believe that that's the course we're headed on very quickly.
Yeah.
So,
And there's like a direct correlation between what our bodies can, or the speed or level of our body transforming, like carbon body to light body.
right.
There's a direct relationship to that, and like you were saying, the work that we do on ourselves. You know, we can't. The universe isn't going to do it for us, right?
Right.
I mean,
No.
we got to still bring our lunch pail and go to work every day.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah. Now you talk about, and I think another point that you bring up too is being holding that vibration. If we want to break it down, it's not. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's that simple.
Right.
Regardless of what happens, regardless of what comes at you, what triggers you, whatever the case is to hold that vibration. And what I love about what you're saying is that that includes, hey, I got to come down. Hey, I don't feel good today. Hey, I got to go to work today. You know, hey, I got to clean up after my kid. You know, hey, my ex triggered me.
Right.
We can still, by the virtue of our, you know, intentions and our desire, maintain that vibration. And it doesn't always feel warm and fluffy, does it?
No, no, it doesn't. But we can do it. And I think a lot of it too is starting to listen to your higher self and guidance. And I think that's the hardest thing when you have ego. You know, when our ego minds come in. But if there's a way to silence that out and start listening, and I've had to do it many times, is to stop and listen to the guidance, because you will be guided through your day, and it's almost like a beautiful synchronicity.
True.
If like my friend says, stop the monkey chatter, you know,
Yeah.
and go about your day, and it's amazing what you can create when you get into that space.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not there now. I wish I was. I would say I'm somewhere in between. You know, I fluctuate between the fourth and third dimension, and I hear things with the fourth dimension. And from this is my personal journey, and I'm not speaking for anybody else, because it's just
Exactly.
it. But for me, I feel like the fourth dimension, I've been clearing out so much old. I've been
Yeah.
clearing out old ways of thinking. I've been clearing out old, any trauma, any unreleased trauma that I haven't dealt with. I guess some people call it a dark night of the soul. I've went through that. And then certain things will trigger me. Like you said, we all get triggered. And
Yeah.
then it's a matter of, okay, why is this triggering me? Why does this bother me? And then you have to dig deep into that. And I think the more you release these things, the higher your vibration pattern starts to
Absolutely. And
rise.
the quicker your body begins to transform or transmute.
Exactly.
Now, so let me ask you on a personal level. Now, you do help people like close friends and family. So you do kind of act as a practitioner, or at least utilize your connection to assist in that way. But what do you do when you get triggered? How do you go deep? Do you have a certain way to do that, or ways to do that?
I do a lot of meditation, and I've gotten to the point where now I step back. Like I had an incident today where somebody said something, and I'm like, wait a second, why is this bothering me? Is it real? Because that's the first question you ask. Is this what impact is this having on my life? Is it positive? Why is it bothering me? And then you kind of have to look at, the whole bigger picture. And I've gotten really good at that. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but when you look deep into things, and whether it's your wife or your boyfriend or whoever, your spouse or your kids, um, they're a reflection of you. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
they're gonna mirror back things to you. And once you
Yeah.
realize that everything is kind of a mirror, you're able
Yeah.
to say, what's going on here, and try to piece it together the best that you
Yeah.
can. And again, then I have to say, is this egoic? That's the most important thing for me, is like, is this my ego mind? Is this really happening? Is this ego? And how do I bring it back, and get back to center? And I do a great deal of meditation, and that helps a lot
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I like what you're saying too, because a lot of people think oneness, it's all fluffy, love, and light, but that oneness is those mirrors looking back at you that you want to deny are you.
yes, exactly. It's true. Yes, 100%.
Yeah, yeah, and then the thing too about the mind chatter, because I think in talking to people on my own journey too, it's like when you can stay connected to that higher self. That's the word you're using. Um, and just be conscious of it. That chatter just kind of goes away. Like
Yeah, it does.
every now and then I'll just go, where did that all go? But it does creep in every now and then. Like
It does.
the last few days, not with the frequency, but it would come in and just tell me, you can't do that. You're not that all that. You're not
Oh,
divinity. You're not in a divine conscious union. You're just in a
oh,
fucking fantasy or something.
we all get that, and then we had to stop it. You know,
Hmm. Yeah.
we had to stop it real quick. You know, put the stop sign up. I say. I always tell my friend that if it starts going, put the stop sign up, and keep going, because it's not the reality of it. We are
Yeah.
definitely we are divine beings, that's for sure. So, and I think we have a important mission right now. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Otherwise, why would we be conscious 99.99% of the time here?
right, exactly.
We have a saying here, the human is the hero,
That's
because, and that's what I love about what you're saying is that, staying in that vibration. Yeah, staying in that vibration doesn't mean you're going to feel good all the time.
no,
You can actually be in that vibration if you're attempting to be balanced and hey, if you're thinking about it, if you're thinking about, hey, what's this mean to me? Hey, I don't want to project on them, and you're thinking in those terms. I think you are holding the vibration. You know,
yeah,
it's almost like there's a book we could refer to for 3D and maybe there's one for 5D, but there's not anything for one for making the transition from 3 to 5.
right. No,
Yeah.
there's not. I might write that one day.
So, right, I think we all can. That's probably
Yes.
going to be our graduation gift, the book, our own book of life, how we did it. That's our contribution to the Akashic come moving forward. Is it have you a lot of people talk about in this process of awakening that they start to understand what their specific or even plural mission is or missions, something that is like their vocational spiritual vocational purpose. Have you ran into that yet?
I have been working on it. I've been trying to seek my answers. I know I'm supposed to be a teacher, a guide, so to speak. Right now, my regular job, I do real estate, but I know that's not my calling, so to speak. It's what I have to do to get by right now. But I know that there's something else that I'm supposed to, like. I knew today I had to get on the phone with you because I feel like I have something to give back with my experiences.
Yeah.
So and whatever I can in any way that I try to help people. I love to help people. That's just in my nature. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping. I've been asking to get me the information. I have been getting, like I said, I've been kind of working on a book, channeling that through. I've been getting guided to do that, but again, it's sometimes we don't listen to our higher selves. I don't know, but it's always that stepping forward in faith, and I sometimes have a difficult time with that, as probably a lot of other people do. So, but
Absolutely we did.
yeah, I have
I,
a
I,
lot of.
I started listening about 6 or 7 years ago after it became too painful not to.
Yeah. Well, that's what I
Yeah,
said. You either go the easy way, or the universe will drag you the hard way. Either way,
that's
you're
right.
you're going to go.
That's right. Which is probably our third most popular saying on the show is a Zen proverb: "Let go or be dragged."
That's right.
So, and what are your thoughts? With the connection you have with infinite intelligence, with your higher self. What are your thoughts on the whole masculine feminine dance, uh, energetically speaking and otherwise?
Energetically speaking and otherwise. So it's funny because and I'm are you referencing the twin flame aspect or the soulmate
Just,
or the whole
just
energy
well,
spectrum?
just I don't really get on those labels either, like you.
Okay,
But
yeah.
I think just if we look at the whole experience, this is a duality or has been
Okay.
prior to the transition. That I guess the core duality is masculine and feminine. So I think energetically things happen, and of course they happen on a micro level too. But I
Right.
mean, I'm just curious. I mean, there's no right answer. I'm just
No.
curious because, like you said, it takes all the pieces of the puzzle to put this thing together. But
Right.
if you have any thoughts on it, if not, then we'll talk about something.
No, it's funny because when I started this, I started seeing all different things for twin flames and soulmates, and there's so many things on the internet right now, and I try not, like you, I try not to get too involved in that because there's so many uh, I don't know. There's different things out there. People believe different things, and I think everybody has their own journey. But in reference to that, what I have learned and what I will state from this is, in my personal journey, is that those energies within yourself, they have to be balanced out perfectly, and that's what I'm learning how to do: balance out my feminine and my masculine energies. And I think that's the hardest thing, because we both have them, and then realizing that those two things have to be in order to be able to transcend. And I think that for me, that's probably one of the things I've been working on recently. As a collective, I have seen, and just from reading different things, I think a lot of the divine masculines are coming forth and what they need to do. I don't want to say that there's a race and anybody's above or beyond, but I have seen that. I think a lot of the divine masculines are coming in kind of like a horse race. They're coming in from behind. So I think that they're
Way
catching up.
behind.
I'm waiting on it.
That's
Like, come
because
on,
we've
let's
been back
go.
there getting dragged. We've been,
But I think that they're on their way,
yeah.
and I think it's being patient with them, and all of our divine masculines, being patient with them, holding space. And everybody like I said, everybody has to have their own experiences when they come here. We've chose the experiences we're having, and giving them their time to wake up. I know for me, like, there's some people I'm like, oh, I just wish you would wake up, but that's not my place to do. They have to do it on their own, and they have to do it at their own pace and their own
Yeah.
speed. And it gets frustrating sometimes, but very
Well,
frustrating.
at least we're seeing some progress now.
That's right.
These last few months, some hard evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is and I'm just doing this intuitively for some reason, but what is the term or the word or the group? What does Pleiadians mean to you?
I don't know. I'll be quite honest. I don't know too much about that. Surprisingly, I try to stay out of that the best that I can. I do believe that we all come from a different. We could all come from a different star system. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
absolutely. Yeah.
And I guess because I'm not educated enough on that process, I don't really know how to respond accurately. And it's something I really been meaning to get into a little bit more. I've resonated with star seeds, and I've seen different things on it. And
Mhm.
I definitely know that there are individuals here that we're not from here. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah.
that's we're definitely not from here. Do I know exactly where I'm from? I think so, but again, there's so many different stigmas on who's
Yeah, yeah.
so
It's
I
not
don't know.
important. It's not
Yeah,
important. Like you said,
I love everybody. No,
yeah, we're the ones down here doing the work. No,
we're doing the work. That's right.
I just basically were led to ask you that. I've never asked anyone something like that.
No,
But
no.
I don't know if that's your higher self saying to me, tell her to, I don't know what that was saying, but
I think you're telling me to research it because I've been meaning to do
I'm not
so.
telling you anything. In fact, I probably shouldn't have even said that.
No, that's okay. No, I've been meaning to research things, and I've been a bit
So,
behind. So
but I'm with you. We're the ones down here doing the work. I'm
yeah,
only going to be Todd one time. You're only going to be Tricia one time. And regardless
that's
of what
right.
our mission is or where we came from, well, why would we do all this stuff and then lose out on the experience of life itself, right?
Right,
Uh,
exactly.
then you also talked about, which I totally believe as well, that we can in the physical reality create that heaven on earth, the 5D consistency. And I think a big part of that is what we manifest in our own little universe, in our
Yes.
own physical surroundings. But yeah, so how do you feel about that? Have you seen you mentioned kind of an instant manifestation thing happening to you in the past. How does that relate to you? Have you seen evidence of that as you do the work, the inner work, see things reciprocate in your own life as far as,
Yeah, I did. I've had amazing things manifest in my life, and when it was happening, I was doing it more for fun. I know I started watching The Secret, which I don't think you're a big fan of, but and some of it's not.
well,
Some of it's
yeah. You've
some of
watched a
it,
few shows.
but some of it's, and I agree, because some of it's not. It's kind of hokey, but I believe that has woken a lot of people up from my experience too.
I agree with that. Yeah,
And
I totally agree with
but
that.
and when I started this process, I was like, well, I'm going to do this for fun and see what I can accomplish. But from that, I had all these amazing experiences happen. And a lot of it, I think, was based on When I talk about the secret, I talk about gratitude and attitude. And I think when you have those baselines,
Yeah.
and that you can start manifesting, quicker. And it's
Yeah.
nothing to do. At first, it was, oh, I want the money and all this stuff, because back then I wasn't fully awake. I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
want the big house, and it's not about that. It actually
No.
took me on a huge spiritual journey. And I do believe, like I said, a lot of it is just gratitude, attitude, and then visualizing what you want in life,
Yeah.
and holding that. And
Yeah.
I think the thing that I think is the hardest is believing that you can have it, and believing that it can transpire. But I think once you let go of that, when you create your manifestation and you believe it and let it go, it can come very quickly.
Yeah, I
So,
agree. I agree. And I've had glimpses of it and flashes of it, like many of us have. And I think you're right. The gratitude and attitude thing is a big part of the equation. I think the only real, if I look at it, to your comment, I appreciate your bluntness, is the exclusion of shadow work. I didn't hear a lot of discussed about it, in that, so to me, and I was stubborn to come around, and I had the luxury of a divine feminine carrying a lot of sacred wisdom teaching me, or trying to tell me my shadow. But once I got through that and accepted it, as the days go by, I realize now more than anything, that's the number one thing, because if you do that, you're actually, you're raising that frequency, and you're going to attract something that matches it. So the more worthiness you feel, the more love you feel, and so on, the bigger the prize.
yeah, absolutely. And the one thing that I noticed, that I was living from my heart space during that time. And
Yeah.
that's the hardest. It is really hard to do that. When you manifest from your heart space, not from egoic or mind. And I think that's one of the hardest things to try to do that, because you're leaving yourself very vulnerable. But I was in that state that I was okay with it. It's kind of hard to explain. But if you're able to do that full time, and you leave yourself a little bit vulnerable, the things that you manifest can be amazing. And I do
Yeah.
believe that solely.
Yeah, it's almost like ask for it and then you let it go,
Right. Exactly.
and then just keep on going. So
Keep
now,
on going.
so in your personal relationship with higher self, with universe, you, me, we, and it, what would you say stands out the most? Do you receive a specific type of channeling, specific theme of messages, light language? I mean, is there something or some things that stand out that you feel are kind of unique in your relationship with the universe?
Um, I guess for me, I don't do the light language so much. I get up in the morning and I kind of ask to see what I can receive for my day. For me personally, just to make sure that I'm, on course and following what I need to follow, and making sure that information is clear. Because, like I said, I'm fairly new to this whole process. So for me, it's kind of stepping out and um, having faith in what I'm being given, that it's true and that it's real, and then usually within a day or so, something will show up and be like, okay, yes, I'm on path, and this is the right thing, and I'm getting the right guidance. So for me, like I said, today is my first time stepping out, and I hopefully I can do a bit more, later on, and I'm feeling a bit more comfortable with it. But I believe that I have more information that would come, that would be for the collective, more so than
Yeah.
myself. Right, it's just for me.
Yeah.
So
Well, you're doing a great job, and
thank you.
we'll be glad to support you as you expand your throat chakra.
Yeah.
So, now, so do you live? I'm not trying to get personal, but I'm just trying to get some perspective. Do you live with anyone? Do you have children in the house? Do you?
I do. I'm a single mom, so I live with my 13-year-old daughter, and
Yeah.
it's just me and her. So
I'm sh-
very happy about that, though. And I've had my experiences with my divine counterpart. So kind of like you said, kind of waiting for him to catch up. And
Yeah,
whoever they bring for me, I always
it's
say,
him or someone better.
that's
that
what I say, him or someone
that
better.
or something better.
Right.
With him or someone else, with her or someone else, whoever, whatever.
Whoever,
Uh,
right.
so what's it like going through this transformation so far over the last 4 years with a 9-year-old to 13-year-old in the house? And what's that
Oh,
been
it's
like?
challenging.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, it's been very challenging. I mean, I've had to hide a lot of things from her, so to speak, because I don't want to. It's funny because at their age, they're very in tuned, more so than what we are, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
So it's funny because my third eye was starting to open, and she said, "Mom, we all opened our third eye on YouTube in third grade." So she's a bit intuitive as well, and
Yeah.
we keep that. I try to keep as normal as I can for her, but she's always saying, "Oh, Mom, nobody cares about your weirdo stuff," so she knows a little bit about it, but she doesn't know all of it. But I'm hoping that if she goes through it, that she's able to follow through from what I've had to experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's been times where I've been in my room. I'm sure there's other moms out there where you're in your room and you're just like, "Oh, I need to take a nap or I'm meditating," and that's not what you're doing. You're in the middle of a deep soul, cry out or whatever you need to do to get through the dark night of the soul or whatever's going on. So yeah, there's been a lot of challenging times with it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
uh, I wouldn't change any of it. It's like I said, it's kind of a beautiful chaos, so to speak.
That's what
So
I said.
yeah.
That's what I said. Yeah. About 2 years after 2 years, yeah, 2 years, 2 or 3 years after I woke up and whatever. I had two girls. They were what, 11 and 12. So I had them from 11 and 12 to probably 14, 15. And that was quite an experience. But I used to say that after I got through trying to communicate with them at a 3D level, I just realized that they were going to be the free flowing energy that they were, and
Yeah.
the house became, quite messy, but it was a beautiful chaos, and I learned a
Yeah.
lot. But there's a school of thought out there that as you do the inner work and clear the vessel and the container, and therefore raise your frequency, that it affects your children. Have you seen evidence of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely with her as well. Um, I can tell a difference in how she presents herself,
Yeah.
and she's more confidence. And I try to keep it as positive as I can in here. I mean, it's not always easy. I'm still a single mom,
Yeah.
trying to navigate the three, the four, and the fifth, fifth dimension. So it's not always easy,
And
but
their
I try.
bathrooms and their dishes and their
Yeah.
I've been there.
We
Yeah.
have to be human.
Yeah.
Still having this human experience, but no, I can tell a difference in her. And like I said, even with her age group, you can tell they're definitely more in tuned.
Yeah.
And I think for them it's going to be much easier for them to come up behind us.
Yeah. I don't
So
think and they don't even have to talk about it really.
no.
They just know it.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Now have you what about like, like we all have this one. Ram Dass says, if you think you're awake and go hang around your family for a few days. What's that been like? I mean, do you have extended family that you interact with either on the phone or in person? Have they have
Yeah.
they have they noticed the change in you and stuff?
Yeah. Well, it was funny. My best friend actually, I for 30 years, she actually started waking up with me, which was funny in the beginning because it was a bit odd to go see her, and then she started waking up. She started seeing numbers. My mom has always been a bit intuitive, so it was our relationship had changed. Actually, became more positive. So that was kind of nice, and I think she's waking up a bit as well. The extended family, when I go there, I've just learned how to navigate it. So does, because it is kind of difficult sometimes. And when you resonate out, just knowing that you love them, I love them so much that regardless of how that energy feels when you get there, it's easier to navigate if you just go in with just,
Mhm.
with your heart.
Yeah. So the universe it speaks to each one of us, presents to each one of us in its own unique way, or our own unique way, however that works. Um, some people communicate with different faces of the universe, divine essences, galactics, nature. Um, and then some people, it's more of that just direct higher self kind of thing. How would you describe yours?
I would say that I'm more direct with my higher self at
Yeah.
this time. I do a lot of meditations out in nature. I do a lot of different things. I do a lot of tree meditations. My
Yeah.
daughter's always like, tree hugger. I do a lot of walks in nature. I walk 4 miles a day by the river,
Yeah.
and that's just a meditation. That's not,
Yeah.
that's just to clear my head during the day. It's
That's-
not for exercise. So
Yeah, I did it for 2 years plus, and that was it. Really,
yeah,
that's like being on a direct line with the universe.
yeah, it is.
Yeah. And what would you say? Have you had one or two experiences? And I ask these questions for people that are waking up that might see this, or even people that have had things happen. I've had a lot of people say, "Oh my God, I thought it was only me." But have you had one or two things that really stand out that were almost like the supernatural? You know, be it apparitions or just a voice or colors or something that you've seen. Have you had anything that really stands out?
Yeah, well, I've definitely connected with others who have crossed, and I've had instances where I've gotten information like from my friend, and it was completely accurate, and I get that a lot, and it will happen like 6 months later, you know. So, and I started documenting them, you know, when I first see things. So it was scary at first, but then I started to attune to it, and I just started to accept it. And that's what I hear a lot when I talk to some people, that they're not used to getting not that you hear voices, because that sounds silly, but they're getting information either from source, or they're getting information from loved ones that crossed over. And I guess at first that was very scary for me.
Yeah.
It stood out, but then when they actually appeared or these things happened, like they would give me a message to give to my friend or my family. And when it came accurate, like 6 months later to a year later, you know, it's kind of, it's incredible, but at the same time, like I said, it scared me. And I guess if anybody's going through that, I would just tell them to make sure that they're, you know, doing third eye meditations, making sure that, you know, they're clearing their energy and their space. Because that was probably the hardest thing for me to have to go through. Like I told you, I'm a factual person. I want to, you know, if I can't see it, touch it, taste it, smell it, I don't believe it. So to have all this happen, like I said, it's beautiful, but at the same time, it was scary.
Yeah.
But and like I said, I started documenting, and that might be something that helps other people out there. Start documenting what you're, you know, what information you're getting.
Yeah, like journaling.
Yeah,
Journal,
journaling. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one. I think that's one of the reasons some people write it on Facebook, you know, or social media.
Yeah.
Just compelled to just do that. Of course, it challenges the ego in so many different ways. You know, like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that, or who do you think you are?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Aren't I smart?
Yeah.
Such a funny dance. So and now you're in the real estate business, which I know so many of us can relate to. Industries like that, industries that have come out of this so-called matrix, which we just can't resonate with.
Right.
Do you see a path where you'll be able to facilitate, you know, your life without having to be, or maybe doing something that you're more aligned with?
Yes, I'm working on that now. And like I said, I think I'm going to start writing the book that I've been channeled through. And like I said, for me, and maybe a lot of other people, it's not listening to that guidance. And I've been getting the guidance probably for the last 6 months. And so I really have to proceed on that.
Yeah.
I do want to write a book on, you know, have navigating these waters, you know, for anybody who's going through them. And I've been guided to do such, but so many of us, we don't want to listen to that higher self, and or maybe I'm trying to hold on to that, you know, to that life, I guess sometimes.
Yeah.
But yes, it is difficult to be in that matrix, so to speak, and then having to work in the, you know, having to work and not really resonating with the position any longer.
Yeah.
Thankfully I work with good people who are they're waking up as well. So that's
Oh,
kind of,
really?
yeah. So,
What's that like? I mean,
uh,
you're in a workplace environment where people are consciously
they're waking up.
and recognizing that, and also, I guess, talking about it. What's that like?
Yes.
I haven't had anybody talk. I had nobody come in here and say my workplace is people are waking up. What's that like?
Oh my God, it's pretty interesting because you know, the one girl in my work was like, I am, you know, I've had these dreams and they're coming true, and I'm seeing numbers and this and that. So I'm able to help her navigate through. She's like, I thought it was crazy. I had nobody to talk to, and I'm like, no, you're not crazy. We're, you know, we're all on this path together. So I've kind of been able to talk her through it, you know, we're trying to do things like manifestation and trying to keep, you know, the vibration up the best that we can. And
Yeah.
she has a different path that she wants to go. And I find too that most people that I work with, they're doing the third dimensional work or whatever you want to call that now to sustain until they get to where they want to be, you know, in
Yeah.
their missions. So
Yeah. There's a lot of people too in your shoes have had a calling to go somewhere, like
yes.
for a visit or even to pack up their stuff. God help you.
Yeah.
Well, pack up your stuff, get rid of everything, and go. Have you had
Yeah.
any of those coming
Yes.
through?
I did. I've had it when I moved to New Hope. I was in Lancaster, PA, and something told me get everything packed up and go. And
Yeah.
I was moved within 3 months. So,
Yeah.
so I always feel that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, is what I say. You know,
Yeah.
for the time being. But I have a feeling there's going to be more moves for me in the near future and other things that I need to work on.
Do you feel like now these close family and friends that you do a little bit of energy work with, uh, do they seek you out, or do you say, hey, I can do this?
No, they generally seek me out. I try not to utilize it that often.
Yeah.
I probably should more, I guess. But generally they'll seek me out or they'll, you know, ask questions and then I'm able to kind of in tune to it. Now, if there's something like an important message, like my one friend, I get stuff for him all the time. He's just a real dear friend of mine. And he's very, you know, he's super intuitive as well. But if it's something very important that I know could be life changing while not disrupting it, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
like emergency things,
Yeah.
I might put a little bug in the air and be like, hey, you know, this is going to happen, or, you know, be mindful of A, B, and C because,
Yeah.
you know,
Or when you go out today, wear clean underwear.
yes. This, you know, if it's something really bad and I'm getting that bad gut feeling, then I share it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been told I should start, you know, doing a bit more work in that area. It's just
Yeah.
like I said, stepping out and in faith, I guess.
And what about your presence online? Is it strictly your personal page on Facebook? Do you have any other?
It was my personal page, and then I decided over the winter time I wanted to connect with all spiritual people. So I went from 100 friends of just close friends and family, schoolmates, to I think I'm up to 4,000 spiritual people that I don't know around the world, and I just kind of yeah.
Well, you might get a few messages after this show. That's typically what happens. And so let me ask you this. So if you had, if somebody comes to you, which probably already has happened, and says, I just woke up, I just had a Kundalini experience. What the hell's going on? What can I do? What would you tell them?
I think the first thing I always have to say is breathe. That's my favorite thing. Breathe. No, I think the take it slow. You know, I wish somebody would have told me that because, like I said, I had nobody. And when you have all these experiences, you think you're going crazy. You think all this stuff is happening. You know, I direct people to meditations, or you know, I'll sit and counsel them. I'll talk to them, you know, on the phone, whatever they need from me. That's kind of what I do, and I just do it intuitively, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if you called me up and said, Patricia, help, I'm going to listen to you, whatever you need to say, and then I kind of get the guidance intuitively on how to respond, you know, to each individual, but based on the situation.
Now, when you get that guidance, are you getting? Do you see things in your head? Like, do you see your higher self? And also, when you get that guidance, do you feel like it's coming from the higher self, or is it coming from their higher self?
I that's a good question. I'm assuming it's coming from my higher self, or it's coming from something far bigger than me, because sometimes the guidance I get it's very clear, and maybe stuff that I wouldn't know about somebody in general without them telling me personally. So I would assume that it's either coming. Some people say it's direct from source, or my higher self, whichever. I guess that's something I need to seek out and look into as well, because I'm not 100% sure. I'll be quite honest on that. I do a lot of higher self work. I do a lot of higher self meditations, but I guess there has to be a clear you know, distinction between the two. And I'll be quite honest, because I am new at all this. I don't know at
Yeah.
100% which way it's coming from. But
Yeah, I was just curious because that might be something somebody runs across in the same situation you
yeah,
are.
absolutely.
So you're down there near Philly. We got a friend, Lorenzo Conte, is over in Asbury Park, the DJ. Tom Bear is over in Delaware, not too far from you. He says he used to go to the New Hope Holistic Show in the past few years. Yeah. So, thank you for spending time with us. Let us know if you want to expand your throat chakra further. Reach out to myself.
I will.
And it's an honor to spend some time with you and share space with you. And on behalf of everybody, we're all happy to be part of your coming out party.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, this is such a blessing. Thank you. Thank you for going easy on me too. Thank you.
Best to you and your girl. You take care.
Oh, blessings. Love you. Mwah.
Be back in an hour with the last show of the day.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.